Following an explosive argument with Carter Reum, which resulted in Paris Hilton being kicked out of her Lux villa, the designer's home turned into a designer dumpster fire. Bags, heels, and drama were the items that were literally strewn across the lawn. So what exactly took place? At first glance, the marriage between Paris Hilton and Carter Reum appears to be beautiful, flawless, and a source of envy. The insiders have described their relationship as messy because beneath the surface, there is a complex web of tensions, emotional pressures, and competing priorities. This is what has led to the glitz and glamour. The marriage has required constant negotiation, mediation, and adaptation due to a number of factors, including the conflict between public image and private reality, as well as differences in opinions regarding family, career, and lifestyle. The protective sister of Paris Hilton, Nikki Hilton, has frequently found herself at the center of this dynamic, serving as a confidant, an advisor, and occasionally an unintentional source of tension within the relationship. Few people could have imagined the storm of emotions, expectations, and private tensions that brewed behind the dazzling smiles and perfectly orchestrated photos that Paris Hilton and Carter Reum exchanged their vows in the garden of her grandfather's bare estate on November 11, 2021. The ceremony took place in the midst of glittering chandeliers, flowing silk, and the attention of the world. Carter, the accomplished entrepreneur and venture capitalist, seemed to have found her prince in Paris, the iconic heiress whose life had been a public spectacle since her teenage years. Carter's calm demeanor balanced Paris's flamboyant persona, and Paris appeared to have found her prince in Carter. The merging of their worlds, however, brought about both excitement and strain that was not anticipated beneath the surface. For as long as anyone could remember, Nikki Hilton had been the more reserved and measured member of the Hilton family. Despite the fact that she was building a life in fashion and philanthropy, she was experiencing a profound sense of protective loyalty that would later place her at the center of subtle but significant marital turbulence. She was watching her sister navigate fame, fortune, and heartbreaks that seemed larger than life. Nikki's role as a confidant and unknowingly mediator in what would become a complex relational triangle of sister, bride, and husband was cemented by the fact that Carter had even sought Nikki's blessing prior to the wedding being held. And as Paris smiled at the altar, exchanging vows and promising forever, little did anyone know that expectations, identity, and the unrelenting glare of the public eye will shortly collide in ways that blurred the line among love and performance, creating situations that were both poignant and in their way chaotic. As Paris juggled her socialite legacy, her fashion and fragrance lines, and her commitment to making the marriage appear picture perfect, the early days of their marriage were a whirlwind of public appearances, media coverage, and the pressures of maintaining a brand that spanned decades. Paris was busy with all of these things. Nikki's presence, which was supposed to be a supportive anchor, became more complicated as she offered advice, comfort, and sometimes gentle caution. She made public remarks about Paris's unusually relaxed approach to wedding planning, while privately suggesting that she remain grounded even in the midst of the extravagance. While Carter was navigating his own identity as a businessman, he was suddenly thrust into the spotlight of celebrity culture. Carter sometimes perceived her involvement as interference, even when she was motivated solely by care and familial loyalty. However, by doing so, she inadvertently introduced a layer of subtle tension into the picture. Though at the time they were just acquaintances moving in similar elite environments, Paris and Carter first came into contact with one another many years ago through mutual friends in Los Angeles social circles. Over the course of more than a decade, they were able to meet each other at various events, including parties, charity events, and industry gatherings, exchanging pleasantries on a regular basis, but never developing a romantic relationship. After spending more time together in private settings, they discovered that they shared interests, values, and a natural chemistry that had been unnoticed in the past. This occurred around the year 2019 when their paths began to align more closely with one another. Their friendship, which eventually developed into a romantic relationship, was able to grow stronger as a result of this reconnection. The proposal took place on a private island in February 2021, marking the official beginning of the couple's engagement and laying the groundwork for their high professional wedding later that same year. This came after the couple had known each other for years in a variety of settings. Their narrative is frequently characterized as a combination of long-standing familiarity and newly discovered love, in which a friendship gradually developed into a stable romantic partnership over the course of time. The private and public lives of the couple were intertwined as the cameras rolled for the documentary series Paris in Love, which was produced by Peacock. The series captured tender moments, logistical chaos, and emotional vulnerability, which would later serve as a prism for viewers to speculate about the reality that lies behind the glitz. The series recorded the complexities involved in the planning of extravagant events, the management of brand obligations, and the cultivation of a relationship that is under suspicion. Arguments over guest lists, dress selections, and the difficulty of striking a balance between career obligations and marital compromise were part of the private reality, while the public witnessed laughter, romance, and spectacle. In spite of the fact that these disagreements were frequently resolved, the presence of cameras meant that even fleeting moments could be magnified into what was perceived to be dramatic situations. Paris and Carter's decision to pursue surrogacy for their children added an additional layer of difficulty to the process of becoming parents. The culmination of this process was the birth of Phoenix in January 2023 and London in November 2023. This process brought joy, but it also brought anxiety, logistical complexities, and emotional highs and lows. Decisions regarding public appearances, social media posts, and brand promotion frequently required delicate negotiation due to the fact that the couple made an effort to maintain their privacy while publicly celebrating milestones. This created friction points. Moreover, Nikki, who was always protective of her sister, would occasionally intervene in order to provide guidance or coordination, which resulted in the impression that her sister's loyalties were inconsistent. Carter confronted Paris about a social media post that, in his opinion, provided an excessively personal glimpse into their family life. This was reportedly one of the most contentious episodes that took place. Paris retorted that he was attempting to suppress her individuality and control her voice because she felt that she was being accused and misunderstood. Given that she had spent her entire life struggling to define herself beyond the expectations of others, this charge struck her particularly hard. An argument that started out as a disagreement about boundaries eventually escalated into a full-blown emotional standoff that was characterized by passive-aggressive remarks and icy silences that lasted for several days. By revealing the delicate fault lines between love and self-exertion, privacy and publicity, the argument was described as toxic but telling by friends who were close to the couple. These are the very contradictions that had always defined Paris Hilton's world. A cycle of affection followed by tension is created as time goes on, resulting in the arguments becoming more frequent and intensifying over time. For them, even the smallest disagreements about travel plans, photo choices, or the children's clothing can quickly escalate due to their busier schedules and the constant attention they receive from the public. The arguments, which frequently begin with frustration and end in silence, are described by pals as being emotionally draining. To create a silent distance that is more icy than words, Paris conceals herself behind her polished and calm exterior while Carter withdraws from the situation. Not the anger itself, but the exhaustion that follows is what contributes to the fact that these moments are truly toxic. It is a vicious cycle of unmet expectations, power struggles, and the constant pressure to appear perfect in a world that is constantly watching them. Two people who are deeply in love, but who are trapped in this cycle,